Hey there, my friends. I hope you are all doing well today. It is my coffee time on Thursday, so I decided I'm gonna chat with you while I have some coffee here with my favorite coffee cup. Fear is not the boss of you. Hi, Mary. So, I spent this morning doing some training. I know I've been working on an ebook, a devotional, and I'm so excited to be finishing that up and get with you guys. It's going to be amazing. I'm really so happy with how it's turning out and so excited. First of all, I am hoping it's helping my kids, and then after that, I hope it's helping all of yours and even you. Like, I'm learning lessons as I'm writing things out and looking for scriptures and having conversations with my kids, and I'm just so hopeful that it can help us a little bit get through this upcoming summer. But I wanted to take a minute because we did training this morning. I learned a few things, I worked on a few things, and then I got a phone call. And that's the part that I want to share with you and talk with you about. It was basically an appointment phone call with a local community services here in Franklin County. She's amazing. I got to meet her over the phone. She had reached out to me because she heard about Project Hope through one of our friends who's basically going to be on the board, and she works at the health department, so she sees a lot of the issues in our county. And so they got talking, and she said, you really need to talk to Tara. And I'm so glad she did, because a huge piece of what we're doing at this point, at the beginning stages of this, is collecting information. We knew there was a need. We know there's a need for something like Project Hope. She did confirm for me there is no place in Franklin County that offers shelter for women or men recovering from substance abuse or anything like that. I wrote a few notes, so I make sure I get this right for you guys. I'm just so moved by the whole conversation. I just think it's so important to get this information out. This community services program does a lot of amazing things. They have group meetings, they have counseling, they have mental health evaluation, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but so many people that struggle with substance abuse and addiction are basically just trying to self-medicate mental health issues. So for example, if they're struggling with something, even if it is, I don't want to say just depression or something like that, and there's a shame or a stigma that goes with what they need, or they haven't been taught or don't even know who to call, how to get help, it can be a lot easier to turn to substance abuse and drugs and things like that to ease the pain of your mental health illness. And unfortunately, that is the way that a lot of it happens. You just kind of open the door and all of a sudden it's an addiction. So this is what we're looking at for so many people in our community. Thankfully, this, Piedmont Community Services, they have so many programs. They have all the counseling there, like I said, group and individual counseling. They let me know today that there are several pregnant mamas in their support group, and it just about ripped my heart open. Like, I know we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and I know we're doing it step by step, but my heart literally just like wrenched in two when I started thinking about the moms, even some are teens, that are pregnant and that are expecting a baby, and they're struggling with substance abuse. And so just to know that there's real people right now that are going through something and there's not really anything I can do about it. Of course, I know we can always pray, and of course we're always doing that, but there are real people right here, right now, that need help. And of course, she said the biggest hurdle that they have, of course, is transportation and housing. There is no housing in Franklin County, so they can refer, to the nearby cities. That's about it. So there are a lot of these mamas that are trying hard, and I guess in the middle of thinking about that the real people that are going through this right now and they're in this place right now, thinking that they are living this, I instantly in my mind went 16 years back when I was pregnant with Abby, and we had just moved from New York to Virginia, newly married. 10 days after we got married, we came down to Bible school, left my family, my sisters, my parents, my work, my college, like everything I ever knew. I had just turned 20 and came down to Bible school, which was a dream come true for me. But I was so unprepared for how hard it was, and I knew nobody, and we went straight to school, and Tim went straight to work after school. I was so lonely, and it was such a hard time for me. And I look back now, and I know that God met me there, and I know He did things in me that I can never get another way, and I'm so grateful for what He did in me during that time. I mean, we barely had text messaging at that point. There were no picture messages, there was no FaceTime, there was dial-up internet. So if I could have been any more isolated, you know, sometimes I would try to go hang out at the girls' dorm, and I just didn't fit in. I was the only married girl on the entire campus. I lived in the 3rd floor of the guys' dorm, so obviously I'm not going down there. And I would sit there and finish my homework in like 2.5 seconds. I would study, and then I would just be lonely, and Tim would be gone, and it was just me. Now, I have a healthy background. I had loving parents. I had a very supportive Bible school experience. I mean, I loved what I was doing, but I was so lonely. And I just think about these girls right now, and thinking about already how difficult, I guess challenging is a better word, pregnancy is, and being pregnant and growing a family, all the things your body goes through, all your hormones, all the changes, all the pain, all the frustration, so many things that you can't control. And then we're in the middle of a pandemic too. So I don't know, sometimes I see and I know what God has shown me, and I'm like, all right, I'll just take the next step, and I'll do the next step. And then sometimes when I get a phone call that reminds me that there's people right here, right now. Sorry, did not plan on being emotional. But they need help. And they need help now. And some of them are living in homes where their families are supporting them. Some of them are in relationships. Some of them are living in homes where other people are using in the home, but that's comfortable for them, and that is where they need to be. I mean, they're just not ready to leave. And I just couldn't help thinking, like, what if we could provide a place for them? What if we could give them another alternative? And the girl I talked to on the phone was so supportive, and she's so excited. And she said, you know, she gave me a lot of connections. She's sending me a lot of information, you know, in hopes that we can work together in the future. And I truly believe that we will. We're going to need so many referral services, because these women are going to need all different kinds of help. You know, we're looking at a lot of the mental health issues and the counseling, and then the trauma that they have gone through and these kids are going through. So, yeah, for those of them that have no one, it's a great point, Sister Dell. There are people that literally have no one. And so Piedmont is working very actively. I was so impressed by the things she was telling me, but to get these moms to interconnect and make support groups. And part of that is probably what triggered me into thinking, you know, like when I was first pregnant. And I'm thinking, man, I had a church family, and I had a very supportive family. I had an amazing husband, and I still went through so much, and it was such an emotional time. Of course, these young girls, you know, to give them as much of a success chance as possible, you know, they're going to need that support. They need so much. They need to find that family, and we need to be that for them. And so, I guess since I'm so emotional, I'll just share one more statistic that really got me. So the girl that I spoke with, she's in charge of the SUD department, substance use disorder. I had never heard of SUD before. So this is what she told me. In 2019 alone, 1/3 of the babies born in Roanoke, 1/3 of the babies born in Carilion, I think is what she told me, were substance abuse tracked back to Franklin County. So that means that 1/3 of all the babies that were born in all of Franklin County, in Roanoke, this was Roanoke, because you can't have babies in Franklin County anymore, in Roanoke, traced back to substance use disorder for Franklin County. So a few years ago, before we even got into foster care or adoption, I was in a women's business group that I loved. It was amazing businesswomen over at the lake, and it was a great way for networking and referrals and to meet other businesswomen that, had struggles just like you, or employee issues, or just the camaraderie and the knowledge that came from that. It was an amazing network group. And the longer I was in the group, almost 10 years before I had to bow out, because we just had too many things going on, and it just wasn't my best yes anymore. But those women have become my friends. We went through stuff together. We celebrated babies together. A lot of them were older than I was, so they were kind of past that stage in life. But when we started fostering, and I still tried to hang in there and stay in that group for a little while longer, they would ask how things were going, or ask how it was going, and I would share just a little bit, and some of them would just break down in tears. And I thought, oh God, what have I done? Or I said something so totally socially awkward, or I blew it, or something like that. But the more I listened and the more I looked in their faces, I started to understand it's because they have addiction and abuse in their face, the most successful women in the community, and they were riddled with substance abuse, whether it was their son and now they're left raising their grandkids, or the kids got taken away and they weren't capable of helping the kids, or a sister or something like that. So many of them had been impacted, and you wouldn't have known. You just don't know by looking at somebody what their story is or what their connection is. And when I hear that 1/3 of the babies born in that hospital are traced back to substance abuse babies in Franklin County, that tells me that everybody has a story, and everybody knows somebody that is affected by this. We are not, there is no one that is immune at this point. And so I guess my fire is just that much more, and I am just so stirred and broken at the same time for what's happening, because I know there's days when I feel like, okay, this is a big dream and I'm gonna do this thing, but then when I look and say, we barely have $100, we just don't even hardly have a checking account, and I feel so small for what that problem is. So I can imagine all the things all the day long, but when I hear real stories and hear real people that struggle with stuff like that, I guess it breaks my heart open a little more. Those pregnant mamas need so much support. So I don't mean to, bring something heavy or always be like the difficult talker or something like that. So my takeaway from this is, I guess I was just stirred to do more, and at the end of the day, I'm just stirred to pray. Like, I can't unsee the problem, and I know it's there. I just am gonna pray and keep moving forward to do my part of how to fix this problem. I'm asking every one of you to pray, pray specifically for these mamas, where they're headed right now, fighting substance abuse and addiction and whatever mental health disorders might be behind that or coming with that. All of that has to be addressed with a newborn baby coming into this world. And if we don't give them the love and support that they need, those babies are going to end up in foster care. Somebody's going to take care of them, and the foster care system already doesn't have enough parents to help with these babies. So there's all parts for us to play. Okay, nobody can do everything, but every one of us can do something. So I'm just asking you if that's where you're at right now, and you know, you might get overwhelmed when you hear all this news, or you might get overwhelmed when you hear the statistics or know that it's right here in our county. You most certainly can pray, and we know that God hears and answers our prayers. And I'm just asking you to pray for these mamas, pray for everybody in that program, you know, locally in our county. Pray for your own counties. Pray for our nation. We need to pray specifically for funding. You know, we can't do anything without a building, first a store and then a home. We need our neighbors to be in agreement, or we need property to open up. We have our eye on a few places, but we barely have a checking account. So I know that God can do anything, and I've certainly seen miracles happen in my life, and I'm not afraid of miracles. And matter of fact, I prefer miracles because I cannot do this in my own strength. But I do invite you all to pray. If any of you can remember what it was like for you to be pregnant, if you were alone, or even just the emotions you went through, even if it was the happiest time in your life. I mean, can you imagine having a substance abuse disorder or mental health illness that you're trying to sort out in the middle of what should be one of the most amazing times in your life? So that was my phone call today, and that's why I came on to share with you before my coffee gets too cold. Just don't forget, fear is not the boss of you. But I say all that to say I'm encouraged by all the programs that I saw available in our county. I am devastated to know that there is no housing option, and I'm even more fuel fired to commit to make this happen. Project Hope and all the things that we have planned for it. So I thank you guys for tuning in and listening, and if you can share this with a friend and create some awareness for our community. Someone needs to know, and someone's got to start praying, or keep praying, or just keep going. So if you're any of those, I'm rooting for you, and I'm with you, and I'm surely enjoying our coffee times, even when they're emotional and even when I tear up. But let's just agree that we are going to change the world, and starting with our own homes and starting with our prayers on our knees. I think that's all I got for today. Thanks, guys.